Cast your mind back to the end of October 2024. Bill Gates turned 69. Nice. People were carving pumpkins for Halloween, and City Skylines got its first ever region pack. This was the beginning of a massive shift in how players could build, with 8 total region packs released in the months since. If you don't know, region packs are geographically themed collections of assets, created by members of the community who are paid for their work, but we get it for free. How cool is that? I guess this is Paradox trying to bribe the community with free stuff, given the rocky launch of the game. But I'm open to bribery. The last pack was released recently, and today I'm going to be ranking them all, from S tier to meh tier. Now before you go grab your pitchforks, let me be clear. This is my personal ranking, based on my experience with these packs. I'm very grateful for the region packs, but at the end of the day, there are some packs that I just think are better. Alright, enough disclaimers, let's get into it. Starting chronologically with the France region pack, the OG. At the time, it felt like a big deal. The moment you start using it, you instantly recognise that Parisian look. Tall, white, houseman-style apartments. Great if you've ever wanted to roleplay as Jean-Claude Fromage Baguette, lounging on your Parisian balcony, chain-smoking and drinking overpriced wine. But here's the thing. This is all you get. It's great for recreating that postcard look, but step outside of that, and the pack doesn't offer much variety. There's no small-town French charm, no rural French villages, and nothing really from the south of France. Even the signature buildings don't help much. They're just bigger, sparklier versions of the same thing. So unless you're going all in on a Parisian build, these assets are going to sit in your menu gathering poussière. I do want to give an honourable mention to the low rent residential. Those guys are pretty cool. At the time, I thought this was a solid pack, but compared to what we got later, it's a bit of a one-trick pony. Even if that one trick is pretty cool. Final ranking, C tier. Sorry, France. Next up, the Germany region pack. Our second stop on the regional world tour. If France was all about one look, Germany gives you maybe 2 or 3. These residential buildings are perfect for housing all the latex ravers, aspiring painters and kebab shop owners that your city could ever need. Let's talk about signature buildings, because this pack has our first standout signature building. The massive department store is easily my favourite part of this pack. It's grand, it's imposing, and actually feels like a centrepiece for a commercial district. It kind of reminds me of Battersea Power Station in London, which is also a giant shopping centre. Overall, the Germany pack gives you more variety, better versatility, and some pretty solid assets. The Germany pack is going in B tier. Right, the UK pack. Now, I'll admit, I might have some bias here. Not because of blind patriotism. Come on, England! Or some deep-seated love of queuing.
Oh, thanks so much.
But because I actually recognise these buildings. I don't have to imagine where they might fit. I know where they might fit. Hell, I can look out the window and see these assets in real life. In fact, this pack inspired me to start building a replica of my home city, Portsmouth. But even without that personal connection, I'd still argue this is one of the most useful packs so far. These buildings don't feel niche or pigeonholed. You could make a sleepy little village, a sprawling city, or anything in between. The terraced houses are a big highlight. They're small but detailed, cozy, and fit really well with each other without everything looking the same. The mixed use assets are also great, giving you those classic British shop fronts found everywhere across the country. And of course, we have the pubs, which we're very fond of. But it's not all peaches and cream in this green and pleasant land. I think some parts of the UK are underrepresented in this pack. And then there's the high density buildings. Unfortunately, some of them are just ugly. That being said, this isn't a critique of the pack itself. It's actually really realistic. The UK does have a lot of these buildings. I think they're ugly, but they also feel very familiar to me, so I can't quite make my mind up. Overall, I do love this pack, despite my nitpicking. It's had a huge impact on how I play the game, so I'm putting it in A tier.
Hey, you still here?
Like the video! Like it! Next up, the Japan pack. Now, I'll admit, I've never been to Japan. I'm not one of these people who obsess over Japan either. My point of reference is strictly how this pack works in-game. This pack feels like the complete opposite of France and Germany. Those were teeming with historical charm. But I haven't yet felt charmed by the Japan pack. And I get it. Japan has been through a lot in the past century. Their cities were basically leveled by either firebombs or nukes. The point is, I would have liked at least one historical building that, as a stupid Westerner, I can point my finger at and say, yeah, that's Japan. If anything, these assets are really versatile. I've managed to use them as an accent building in certain places, which works quite well. But nothing here is particularly standout. So while this pack is useful, it's easily my least favourite so far. It's going in D tier. Alright, now we're off to Eastern Europe. And let me tell you, I really like this pack. This one has great balance. You get ornate, colourful, old-fashioned buildings, but just enough Soviet brutalism to make things feel authentic. One of my favourite parts of this pack is these commercial buildings. Small, colourful, and really nice to look at. It does feel a bit like you've got pyrovision goggles on though. And honestly, call me stereotypical, but that wasn't really what I was expecting from Eastern Europe, so it's a nice surprise. And the service buildings are just as strong. There's a nice variety of ages and architectural styles. Some feel old and traditional, some more modern and imposing, and some are just audacious, like this fire station for example. Then there's my favourite building in the entire game, the Disease Control Centre. I'm pretty sure it has the largest footprint of any building, and makes for a scary, dystopian looking centrepiece. One of the creators behind this pack described it as one of the most inhumane representatives of the brutalist architectural style. Also, if you've ever wanted to roleplay as a socialist in City Skylines, this pack helps you fully commit. I did, and it was pretty fun. Check it out if you're interested. So yeah, great mix of styles, solid service buildings, and one of the best signature buildings in the game. This is also going in A tier. Now this is how you do a region pack. This pack is really cool. It's got great variety, strong service buildings, and some epic signature buildings. But let's start with low density residential. These quaint little courtyard houses are based on a style of housing found in Beijing, known as Shiyuan, Seiyuan, Shivon. They're designed with a central courtyard, and they've been around for about 800 years. Pretty cool. But where this pack really shines is the high density residential and office buildings. These things look modern, sleek, clean, almost futuristic. And let's talk service buildings, because this pack is stacked. The university is a standout, the city library looks amazing, and the bookshop. I swear I built this in Minecraft once. And don't even get me started on the signature buildings. Look at these, they're unreal. The Skyline Palace is the tallest building in the game, but the financial centre is just as cool. I didn't even notice this at first, but look, there's a hidden garden in there, which is a really cool touch. How could I not mention the Yin Yun Tower? This thing is so cool, it even got its own new building category. It boasts a ridiculous plus 100 recreation and an absurd 193 attractiveness. Through my very surface level research, I have deduced that this is, in fact, the most attractive thing in the game. I mean, what else can I say? Every asset in this pack is sick. The variety is incredible, and the signature buildings are next level. Absolute banger of a pack. I'm ranking this one in S tier. Nice, we're down to the last two packs, starting with Northeast USA. And my first thought?
Quite nice, actually.
When I heard that the USA was getting not one, but two region packs, I was kind of miffed. Especially since the base game already has a North American theme. But these packs do feel useful. This whole pack gives off tall, imposing and gloomy vibes, which can work really well. The buildings are square and formal and built to last, which makes sense given this was one of the first regions to be colonised by Europeans. You can even see that in the name of some of the buildings, such as the Frankfurt Mansart building, or there's the Vrijdag building.
Vrijdag
Literally means Friday in Dutch. So, happy Friday, I guess? One thing that did crack me up was the water tower. You can upgrade it with a welcome sign and even a pair of sunglasses, which is going to be a staple in all my future builds. In terms of signature buildings, the Imperial State Building is by far my favourite. It might be a nod to the Empire State Building, and it fits perfectly into a city skyline. As for zonable buildings, there's no low density residential here, but you get pretty much everything else, and they're alright. But my other favourite thing? It's actually the hospital. This thing is tall and gloomy and kinda ominous. It looks like Dr. Evil could live here. Overall, this pack has its place. It gives off vibes of like Boston or New York, which makes sense. But let's see how it compares to the Southwest. The Southwest pack is more fun, casual, and a bit more visually interesting, honestly. While the Northeast felt tall and rigid, this pack is lower, curvier, and a lot more diverse. Some of the buildings look plain and generic, while others, like the Southwest Police Headquarters, are actually really cool. You also get more colour and graffiti with these assets, and a focus on industries like art, media, and tourism. Now, onto signature buildings. I'll be honest, not much impressed me here. I did like the Sunshine Hotel. It almost has like holiday resort vibes, and I like that. I could do with a holiday. But weirdly, the hospital is another standout here. But that makes sense given that healthcare in the US isn't a service, it's more like a business. Overall, I like these packs, and I plan on using them in a North American build in future. But having said that, it doesn't tickle my pickle as much as other packs. I'm putting them both in B tier. So that's it. China reigns supreme, Japan lives in a basement, and the rest are somewhere in between. Honestly, they've all got their uses, and I'd recommend you to try them all at some point. I'd also recommend that you check out these other videos here.